Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Yolanda Centron, and I'm a biological dentist in Fort Lauderdale. It is an honor for me to have two of my favorite patients, Paul and Susan Solomon. They are always so joyful, and they are an inspiration to me because there's a lot of things going on. There's always going to be things happening in the world, but they always have such a great positive attitude. And today's topic is going to be about the brain and brain health. And I learned that Susan and Paul, they're knowledgeable about this topic. Actually, they're going to tell us a little bit about, how they got involved in this topic. And I just want to be all ears and learn from them what is it that they can teach us about brain health.
Okay, Susan, you go first.
Well, Paul and I first started to learn about brain health because both his mother and father unfortunately suffered from Alzheimer's. And it was very eye-opening to go through that experience probably over 12 years or so. We didn't know at first what was happening, but looking back, we then started thinking back to my father-in-law. There was definitely signs of things, but you just are kind of going along in life and you don't really take a good look at those things. You just think, oh, that's such a weird thing that just happened. Why did dad do that? Or, and you just sort of move along, but then it starts to progress. And as it progressed, we're like, oh my gosh, he has Alzheimer's. It was now blaring. And we were kind of learning as we went along on the journey with him, how to join him on his journey. And that was very interesting. And then my mother-in-law started suffering, and we knew because of my father-in-law, she has Alzheimer's. So it was a grueling experience.
Here was that.
It really started in 2012. Yeah, he had slow moving, we'll call it slow moving dementia Alzheimer's. He was really never diagnosed, but in my experience, I'm a certified senior advisor. So my background has been for the last 15 years working with seniors, with financially and through long-term care benefits and through Medicaid. So I work with attorneys to get this done. So I've been through a lot of workshops, clinics with doctors trying to explain Alzheimer's dementia, the plaque in the brain and things like that. And I always kind of scratched my head. I wasn't a big believer of what they were saying. Okay. Because I knew that there was more to it, and information that we've kind of put together over the last 10, 12 years of working with my father, then my mom, the medications that my father was given, saying, oh, this might help slow it down or stop it, I knew wasn't kind of true because there was nothing really out there. And it actually made things worse. So it was kind of scary to see that happening. And through my clients that I had dealing with all the families that I deal with, really no one knows what to do. Everybody kind of unfortunately believes their, I'm going to say doctor or attorney or somebody that really has no background in really understanding how to handle it.
The loss leading to loss.
It really is. So I became a good resource, and I'm kind of proud of that because people come to me and ask me whether it's a legal question about how to deal with family because the estate planning attorney might not do the right thing, or their geriatric care manager, which I kind of make sure really go for help. You can't be on an island by yourself doing this. And that's kind of how we both got into the business doing that, more me than Susan, but we got so many bad answers. And we kept saying that can't be true. Or that there's got to be more to this. And we kept digging and digging. And that's kind of how I put together this kind of business helping seniors because of my own parents. Everybody believes that if they go, I went to the doctor's appointment with my dad and I was asking questions. Or I went to the doctor's appointment with my mom and asking questions. My mom got mad because I was asking so many questions. She's like, you're embarrassing me.
She didn't want to admit what was going on because they still lived in their home by themselves and took care of themselves.
They're very scared.
And too proud to ask for help.
Yeah.
And even though by this point, Paul is really entrenched in this business And we're like, we have all the people that we need. We'll bring help into the house. We'll do this. We'll do that. And
Yeah.
she was like, no, everything's fine. Dad is fine. I don't need help. Until one day she got scared because he got physical, which he had never been in his life, and went to go take a pillow and hit her. And she got scared and called us and said, Paul, I need you to come here.
Because, there's different stages. The statistics are that more than half of the population we're moving towards the direction of early cognitive decline, dementia, Alzheimer's. Now that is scary to all of us and alarming. So, from that experience, we are concerned that if my mom had it, if my dad had it, I'm next, because the misconception is that all diseases, cancer and dementia, all that is a genetic component. But there's a very small component, people that have the APOE4, gene, and then there's modification of lifestyle that can be done. So your mom, is from the generation like my parents, that doctors are gods. They don't know that doctors have very limited knowledge because doctors are not trained in nutrition and lifestyle. And I'm so happy that with the new administration, they're going to change that, and they're going to make not only doctors learn about nutrition and lifestyle, but everybody in school, like the children in first grade and second grade and third grade. And isn't that wonderful?
Amazing.
And then let's see, education. But then, like you were saying, Paul, implementation of change, that is one of the things that we know, that exercise, in actual exercise, like playing tennis, playing the piano, playing the guitar, dancing, are things that are going to make your brain more neuroplastic. So that way, if this part of the brain got damaged with mercury fillings, so you have another part of the brain, maybe that's going to kick in. So tell me a little bit about, how this tragedy, right? Because, to see our parents lose their cognitive and they don't even maybe recognize you, like how did that put fire in your soul to like change how people are doing things?
Well, it kind of created this business for us. I'm a licensed insurance agent besides a licensed real estate broker, and have all these other certifications or designations to deal with seniors. Yeah, for dealing with seniors. So it was really created out of the need from helping my parents. I mean, I was fortunate enough where it became my business, where a lot of people that I deal with the adult children, they can't. They're working, or they're retired, or they're in another part of the country.
And in the knowledge you have accumulated through the years, like you cannot be an expert of, like have all the hats.
Correct. And so that was the drive of seeing how many conversations I had based on my parents with either professionals, and said, okay, that can't be right. So I question it. And I'm like, that can't be true, or that. And then when you start speaking to 2, 3, 4, 5 different professionals and whatever it might be, they're giving you all different answers because they don't know.
Yeah. A little bit, what of course maybe limited knowledge.
Correct.
But we also learned, I must say, the big event in our life was Paul's father went missing for 22 hours.
That's scary.
Walked out their door because he got mad at my mother-in-law. She had fallen the night before and couldn't really get out of bed to tell him, no, don't go out the door. She wouldn't let us help her.
How old were they at that time?
Probably early 80s.
And we said, listen, we'll get you help. We'll do all the things. We'll put the lock on the door. We'll get out a GPS thing, and we had all
the answers.
the tools to help you. No, very stubborn, which is very common.
That's that age of one, right?
Don't want the help. We could do it, but they can't. So he went missing 22 hours. It was the scariest 22 hours of our life. We're talking a full-blown rescue, search and rescue, police officers, dogs, drones, helicopters. They lived in a community with lots of lakes. There's boats going through the lakes because a lot of Alzheimer's patients or people with dementia, they like to go to water. So
Water attracts that.
yes.
Oh, Lord.
And there was a lake in the back.
Find it on the ocean.
So there was a lake behind our house. I thought for sure he's in there. So actually a drone found him the next day flying, there was these special drones and they're heat sensitive and they're flying around at night to see if anything lit up. And they found him the next day. And at that point, we said, okay, now
Taking over.
we're taking
Right.
over.
We're going to put like face on the sneakers,
Now,
iPhone.
Well,
so he was a flight risk at this point. He had to go to a lockdown facility because, it was,
Right.
my mother-in-law could not handle it.
Yeah.
And, listen, it takes a trained person to understand this disease. There's so many levels to it from A to Z and a million things in between. And so we said, okay. And then her life turned around in 360 in 5 minutes. We had to get her out of her house because she couldn't live there.
Right. It's very dangerous.
And it was all about her safety. So she moved to the place where my father-in-law lived. She could see him and, go back and forth. And he was very well taken care of. We were there, I don't know, 5 days a week at least, overseeing everything. Because even though they're in a facility with people who know what they're doing, you still have
There's
to
not even talk. Yeah.
there has to be an advocate.
Yeah.
You have to have an advocate, whether you have to hire somebody.
Yeah.
We're fortunate enough to be here.
24/7. Just think about it.
Yeah.
You have no clue if the person is sleeping. You go to sleep and then suddenly they wake up and they decide they're going to drive.
Yes.
And then they forget they're driving and they hit the wall or kill somebody. So, this is a serious problem that's rampant, that's growing. We know that there is environmental toxins. Like there have the aluminum trails, of the planes. You can see the aluminum being that affects the brain directly and causes dementia. We have fluoride. Now they took it out of the water, thank God. But fluoride it's also a degenerative chemical that affects cognitive. And then we know that the food is contaminated with pesticides and plastics. Anything that causes inflammation in the brain. Obviously, I'm a biological dentist. People come with cognitive decline that we remove the metals, the mercury, the aluminum, the cavitations, the root canals, and the infections in the mouth. And we literally see like a change the next visit. It's like, Lord. And as a dentist, being exposed to all those things for 40 years, my entire lifestyle is about detoxification of heavy metals. Because, we know, some of my colleagues have passed away already from cognitive decline, dementia, Alzheimer's, cancer, you name it.
Yes.
So, I'm still practicing. And the topic of dementia and cognitive decline is so important to me because not only as a dentist, I see it on my colleagues. I've seen it. I just lost a friend of mine. He got dementia at 40 and he passed away.
Yeah.
In the last 15 years, he was in a facility 24/7, being fed. 15 years bedbound is devastating. So the fact that we can talk about this and then share with people what we know for people to not go that route, there's things that we can do. You want to share, what you know from your experience or things that now you wish you knew then.
Well, Susan cooks a lot. So I'm fortunate enough. Susan and I have been together for 40 years. So
That's so wonderful.
So the research that Susan has done, and I give her all the credit, because we know one side of it.
Yes.
But the food aspect of it and how the food supply is totally deteriorated over the years.
Yeah.
That what's safe and what's not safe. So somebody that's lazy, that wants a quick dinner or a quick something, generally is not going to go grab something healthy. Because
there's no shortcuts.
Right. So
you do the first time or you're going to be poisoned.
And especially these days, how food's so expensive. Oh, we laugh all the time because people say, let's go out to dinner. So we're like, okay, twist our arm, we'll go out to dinner. And 99% of the time, the quality of the food is not good. And cooking is better.
Know what they're cooking with.
You know what they're cooking.
It's too much to be dangerous.
Yes. So,
Yes.
so it's frustrating, with a lot of people will say, come over. Susan makes dinner. No,
Exactly.
we don't want to go to
Bless.
your house.
Bless.
But
Yeah.
I also am very proud of myself that for some crazy reason, because I was not brought up in a home where anybody was holistic, you go to the MD, you listen to what they say, they're God, and that's how it is.
Mhm.
And so, that's what my grandparents knew, my parents. So, for the better part of my first part of my life, it's what I did.
Yeah.
That's how we raised our kids, really.
And until one day was going on with my son, and somebody had mentioned this holistic doctor to me, and I said, you know what? Let me try. And let me tell you, she opened my eyes to a world that I didn't even know existed.
Exactly.
And she turned me into a crazy person. Not crazy.
No, actually,
Very, very.
Responsible
I'm
person.
kidding. Very informed about the medical system taught, and about the Flexner report of 1910 and all kinds of really interesting, wonderful things. And I educated myself and I dove in. And for over 20 years now, I would say I just keep learning and learning. I never stop reading.
No.
I never
Mhm.
stop researching. I dove in. I learned about insulin resistance and how that's so related to Alzheimer's,
Yes.
dementia, and they're
Yes.
calling
The
it
sugar.
diabetes 3.
Right. Diabetes.
yeah.
The sugar. What
Yes.
causes
Yes.
inflammation in the brain? You go to a fast food restaurant, guys. Everything in Chick-fil-A has sugar plus 25 plus chemicals that you cannot even read.
And seed oil. That
The
causes
seed oil. Also, they cook maybe in aluminum
Yeah.
There.
pans.
Yes.
Also,
Yeah.
now with the Teflon pans,
Mhm.
Teflon's great.
there's so many things that I start adding little changes.
Yeah. Just one thing at a time. That's like how we start. We start with one subject, the kitchen, get better pots and pans that don't have all the chemicals in it. And maybe the next thing, because it's overwhelming when you're like,
Do
okay,
you guys have like a course you give to teach people what to do?
It's a good idea.
Because
I
honestly,
need
Good
to.
idea.
doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Right.
It has to be done now and fast.
Right.
Because, like, how old are you? And if I had a friend at 40, he got dementia, I know that they had mercury fillings, the entire family in their
Mhm.
mouth. The father, dementia.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Puerto Rico. I did not know that in Puerto Rico, they put mercury fillings on the patients, right? I'm from Puerto Rico. I'm speaking to a cousin of mine, and he's young. He's telling me he has eczema, he's got panic attacks. He goes to the ER once a month.
Mm.
And I'm like, why? And he's telling me all these things. Now, I'm thinking he's young, but every time I fly, he would tell me stories. And I was thinking, is he a hypochondriac? Honestly, I was thinking. And a lot of anxiety. I said, open your mouth. 16 mercury fillings. Then my cousin's wife said, oh, I have eczema too. I said, open your mouth. Mercury fillings. I said, okay, guys. Fly to Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to check you out.
Right.
Literally, dentist had put mercury inside the nerve of the tooth. So that mercury was going
Seeping.
directly
Right.
into the brain.
Scary.
Well, as you well know, dentists are not taught either that the mouth is connected to the body. It's not separate. Right?
Yeah, they don't like common sense.
Yeah.
We're all connected. But,
But
somehow
they think it's,
it got disconnected at some point.
Mm.
Now we're body parts. You have kidney problem, right? Go to the kidney specialist. But tell me, doctor, about my lung. Not a lung.
And
sorry.
nobody asked, but why do I have a kidney? What is the root cause of me having this kidney problem?
That's a good question.
What is the root cause of any disease, anything that's going on in your body? Nobody asked that question. Someone asked me the other day, because I've worked with many functional medicine doctors on my own body. I've worked really hard on my body to get to where I am. And I still continue to work
You
because
have to.
I want to live a vibrant, healthy life as I age.
Yes.
We're getting close to the number 60, and I don't believe that you have to be 80 taking 100 pills and be decrepit. No. You can be vibrant. You
Yeah.
cannot have dementia or
Right.
Alzheimer's or any other cognitive things going on.
I agree.
Your muscles, your bones, all of it will work. You give the body the environment to do what it needs to do, and it can heal from anything. That's my belief and my knowledge.
Absolutely.
Is that
Absolutely.
true?
Yeah. I was training on Friday and the trainer was telling me about his client, it's 107. I said, well, you're going to continue to be my trainer. And, part of, like you said, the cooking, it's very hard once you start buying, eating fresh fruits and whatever is on season, right? That's like
Yeah.
fresh. You go to the market, you would be shocked that it's so much cheaper to buy at the farmer's market, Saturday, Sunday, every city has them. You can get like 2 baskets of tomatoes for $4 fresh. They smell like, wow, you want to eat them. When you have this smell of the fruits and vegetables that is so fresh, you literally want to eat it versus buying a lettuce. The lettuce is supposed to be dripping water out of the bottom of it if it's fresh.
Right.
But by the time we get it from the supermarket, you don't want to eat it. It smells weird. So it's like people have a misconception.
We have, I mean, again, we're fortunate enough where we've been able to travel outside the country.
Yes.
So Italy and Portugal is one of our favorite places. And when you go there, where we were there last year,
Yeah.
between eating and eating the breads, and you could eat anything, and we ended up
Yes.
losing weight, not
Yeah.
gaining weight,
Yeah.
because of all the walking, obviously, that we're doing, and even the wines.
And the
we drink.
chemicals are not there.
Right.
Correct.
They're not allowed.
Yeah.
We have products here in the United States and we sell it the same cereal box, let's say, same as the United States. We make it and we send it to Europe or wherever else outside the country.
Without it.
And we have all this garbage in our cereal box and they have none in theirs.
Yeah. Our red dye has to be beet
Correct.
color.
Yes.
Beet for Europe. But here is our
Yes.
red.
And it's very tough.
Yeah. But I think, people are waking up because, we have young patients that, I sit down and I interview them and we spend the time educating people because it's like they don't know what they're doing. They just have such faith in the young generation, people in their 20s and 30s, because they're not taking the data that's given to them. They're like, my friend died from the heart after the vaccine. Well, okay.
Right.
So I don't want the vaccine. So they're kind of waking up, but there's a lot of resistance, that.
And the internet has its good and its bad, right?
Mhm.
So for the good information that's out there, you could do your research and get it. Unfortunately, the bad information is more in your face,
Yes.
right? So you got to kind of go through the weeds and really educate yourself. And again, depending on how you were brought up, that's a big, I mean, it's all of us, it's from generation to the next. We just keep going.
Yeah.
So you have to stop that. Somebody's got to put their foot down and say, okay, I don't believe that. All right. And let me do the research to get it done. And whether it's in the food products or whether it's in the insurance industry, I see it all the time. There's a company now, if I went to go buy long-term care insurance, which I'm a big fan of and I try and promote for many reasons, there's one company out there because both my mom and dad died from dementia, Alzheimer's. They won't insure me. Now, you can say, okay, in the old way of thinking, possibly, that means that I'm going to get it.
Right.
Okay. I'm totally against that.
Because that's why you eat and are going to behave like them.
Correct.
So,
Right.
if it was environmental, it's hard to change things.
So you see it now.
But, you were able to wait. Okay, it did this. So what things do you identify possibly, because two people that have different genetic,
Disposition.
dispositions and tendencies, they obviously were they tested for the APOE4 gene?
Mm-hmm.
And they would possibly both.
No, actually, my parents were never tested. I mean, we were going to go take my dad to get tested, and my mom kept canceling it. Oh, he's not. He's fine.
She's afraid of getting yeah.
Correct. And then my mom, unfortunately, she ended up getting, my dad passed away right before COVID. And then within months, COVID hit. And then she ended up getting it. And I think a big part of that age bracket that was going from, let's say, living at home, moving into independent or assisted living, because of we weren't able to see them.
Isolation.
So the isolation was tremendous.
Decline.
Yeah.
The decline happened very quick.
Emotional.
Happened very quick. So we couldn't get in there to see her. And we just saw that over 3 years, her decline went to when she passed away.
Well, let's talk about that aspect.
I was going to say, you mentioned emotional.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Mhm.
Because, we're social beings. We need to be connected. Men that are married outlast all the men that are single, and there's a lot of things that, the Bible says to find a wife is a good thing. And also to protect our hearts because that's the source of life. So she was heartbroken.
Mhm.
Yes. She lost her husband. And then also the fear of the disease can actually provoke the disease, right? Because, God has given us a spirit of courage and not of fear. But if we go into fear, because we know that, obviously I can throw the aluminum pots and I can get rid of plastic. I can cook my meals. I can clean your mouth. So you are non-toxic. You have a water filtration that's taking chlorine, amines, fluoride, fentanyl, all the drugs, all the plastics out of the water. And you're showering with water that's nice and clean. You're working out. You are in a loving relationship. Now, the emotional part can shut down your world.
I think that's the most important thing for people to understand.
I mean, I think today,
Yes.
not to say that people back in the day didn't have the stress, but things are coming at us so fast. The
Yeah.
information, technology, the world, and we're so connected around the world where if something bad happens around the world, within seconds we're hearing it, where it might have taken days.
You're hearing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't turn the TV on,
Right.
okay?
I don't either.
I just want to make
It tells me something. I
right.
just
So
I
the
gotta
stress.
keep saying, okay?
So I know personally where stress was definitely something that's, how do you measure that to a certain point, right? But
Right.
your health is telling you that's how you're measuring it.
Stress, the adrenals are gonna produce. You're gonna be on fight or flight.
Right, your
Your
cortisol
adrenals are
is-
gonna produce, adrenaline, and then that's gonna like deplete your adrenals.
Mhm.
But how can you even heal when you are producing adrenaline? You cannot sleep at night, and you cannot heal. Your body heals when you sleep.
So my answer to all of that was meditation.
Okay.
So I would have been the last person probably on the earth to do meditation.
It's true.
And things happen in life and you look for answers and
Yeah.
you look for them and you're hoping you're going to get those answers from whatever you might believe in, but sometimes you don't hear it.
Yeah.
And you're going down this path that healthy, whether hair's falling out, you're losing weight or eating too much because that, compensates for each other. But meditation, and I'm going to say it's probably 7 years, 8 years that Susan helped me find meditation.
I love it.
And between,
Trust me, he was very resistant.
I was a wild man for a while just because of life,
Yeah.
family,
And
business,
listen,
and
Yeah,
everything.
you're
else.
like you're running. You're like
But I also
doing 1,000 miles an hour, and you don't have.
I also believe that I don't ever put any of my beliefs onto somebody else.
Right.
If you want to ask me anything and you want an opinion, you want some of my knowledge, I can help you in any way. But just because I believe in what I believe in, it's good for me. It might not be good for you. You should do what's good for you.
Mhm.
As much as I wanted him,
Yeah.
I let him get there in his
Yeah.
own time, in his own space, in his own way. And he became like
Out of control.
unbelievable. And it really has changed all of our lives.
That's wonderful.
Dr. Joe Dispenza, he really changed our life. His teachings, I would tell anybody to buy one of his books
Yeah.
if you want to learn what it really is about, the science behind it. We had some things happen in 2008. Our business basically fell apart because the real estate market crashed, and that's one of our main, ways to make money. So it was scary.
Yeah. 2008.
Talked about fear. Fear was I lived in fear.
Yeah.
I couldn't even function in life. It was
Yeah.
so scary.
Because it's like, you have
What
to
do we
be
do?
flexible. It's like, okay, I'm used to this lifestyle.
Now what?
How am I going to be flexible
Right.
to see a blessing in this? And Everybody's going through it, and what's the worst that can happen?
And what the doctor wanted to do
But you
was
already
prescribe me
finished?
medicine.
Yeah.
So he gave me Ambien, and being the person I am,
Lord.
I literally took it one time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, but I just said, oh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he gave me boxes.
Yeah.
I said, no, I know this is not what I.
There,
Right?
that causes cognitive decline.
Yes.
Mhm.
All these
All the-
anxiety
yes.
medications.
All the time.
You know,
Right.
we are spirits having a physical experience.
Right.
Sure.
So when you meditate, you're seeking that source. I call it,
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes.
Other people call it God.
Universe, God, whatever.
Yahweh.
Yeah.
So what happens is that we truly are that essence, and we are spirit beings having this physical experience. So when you give a chemical that's going to change the functioning of the body, like your body doesn't know what to do. And actually, I have patients that have been on Ambien for 20 years. I have a lady that I looked, and then she hasn't slept in 20 years because what happens when you do this kind of medications, it doesn't let you go into deep sleep, REM sleep. So it's actually aging you rapidly.
Right.
It's accelerating the process of brain damage. So, medications, the best medication our body produces when we exercise. God created it so we can produce endorphins.
My friend was like, oh my God. I'm like, here you go. I gave her all of the I knew that was not my answer. I knew it wasn't my answer. I had to go deep inside myself and find and ask questions of myself. And I had to get to know the deeper aspects of
Who you are.
and I did. And I learned 12 years of reading and this and that. And then someone told me about Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Becoming Supernatural, because a piece of the puzzle that is still I needed to intellectualize the mystical aspects of things.
Yeah, and it's so simple though.
Yeah. And
I read it, like the Bible is Judaism, right?
Yes.
So in the Old Testament, right? One of God's name is Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Emmanuel is the God that lives in you. So when we are speaking and meditating and seeking God, He's right there. It's just getting to that point that we can silence our brain and we can actually hear the Holy Spirit of God guiding you and speaking to you. And it's like, my God, I was trying to do it on my own strength with the adrenaline.
Right.
And, my energy was coming from adrenaline and or anger. That got me mad. But it's so much better to come from this simple position that, He is my younger. We have the Almighty God that created everything, that created your body, that made your baby inside your womb. He made you perfect. And He is our guidance. And He's going to speak to us in different ways through a person, through meditation, through prayer. It's like God is so accessible that's another thing that's happening right now with the kids, with the internet. Like they're here, but look at the ocean. When you look away and afar into nature, you truly connect with the supernatural versus trying to be super informed, like you're so into the computers, into the books, it's like you cannot even hear God.
Again, I was so far removed from anything as we're talking about. And as a man, which I would think I could say this in generality about how a man isn't in tune to maybe their body as much as a woman is. And it was really interesting where I've understood, yes, the help of Dr. Joe Dispenza, it's not just about meditation, but really understanding your mind and your body, and that you can heal yourself a lot of ways, almost all the time. And it's just interesting. Everybody's, something happens. Oh, did you go to the doctor? Oh, did you go to? No, I don't need to. I just have to think about what my body needs
Exactly.
to heal it.
It's
It's
like
been really
a lot of
interesting.
times we're trying to be God. You're trying to say, I'm going to meet my goal, whatever that is. Okay, I'm going to sell 10 houses.
Right.
It's like, what about what God has planned for you?
Correct.
And then He's going to give you more than what you ask. It's just that we have so little. He's going to actually give us more than what we have.
So the emotional aspect, I think I learned also because years ago I had gone to a chiropractor that did something called
Yes.
neuro-emotional technique.
Yes.
So we all store emotions.
Yes.
A lot of it is
Cells,
subconscious. It's cellular memory
Mhm.
in there. It could be as you were being conceived before. It could be ancestral. It could
Yep.
yeah. So it's in there. So, and we're unaware that it's in there.
Mhm.
And I've worked, in the years past with some chiropractors that would do this technique, not in depthly.
Mm.
And then as I was reading and researching and doing lots of things that I just enjoy learning about, I came across a book called The Emotion Code. And I now work on myself doing emotion code and releasing emotions. And it's really just a really interesting aspect. Trapped emotions, every time there's a breakdown in your body or a disease in your body, there is an emotional component attached to it. It's just a fascinating thing.
Yeah, we'll have another podcast on that because, we do have an e-bars, we have the biofeedback machines in the office. And one of them is the Cytoscan and the other one is the Cyto. And Cyto has a program that's called eVox. And then when you listen to the Truth About Cancer, they're interviewing the different doctors and experts, and they were speaking about the emotional components, right? And then letting go of that emotional component. So it's through music. The music is very healing. So, you speak about what's the blockage or the experience, a car accident. Now I cannot get on the road. So the voice actually is not what you say, it's actually what the frequency of your voice is going to transmit to their program, and then they're going to give you a program that it counteracts that. It's crazy.
Yeah, and we believe in it. We believe,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing I think with a lot of people because we talk to friends. We start maybe to have a conversation and then we stop because we know that then just their mind isn't ready to either understand
not
it
ready.
or
And you have to accept that.
yeah, we don't.
Everybody's not where
Yes.
we're at.
Listen, that's why I love you so much. Yes. My daughter says, "Ma, don't be Dr. Yoli. If somebody's not paying you, they're not going to be interested." She said, only be Dr. Yoli with the people that pay you because they're really truly invested in healing. You know what? I used to give advice all the time. And I saw that, my friends didn't even want to invite me. You said, oh, there she comes.
She's going to tell us all this.
Right.
You want to know and ask me, I'll tell you.
It's like, yeah, is that wine organic?
We do that all the time.
Are there sulfates in
Because we know what we're thinking. Like if somebody says something or
Yeah.
somewhere, somebody starts talking, like we'll just either look at each other and she's like, Paul, don't say a word. Because usually I'll butcher
You're
it,
Dr. Yoli.
right?
and ask my wife to explain
You
it.
should get more in detail with it. I'll just, throw it out there like a bomb. I'll just throw it out. Sorry, Susan. Susan will give you the technicalities on how that works. I said, here, just go ahead, go with that.
That is so wonderful. I love you guys so much.
And I would like to say just something about Dr. Cintron. I knew for many years I had mercury in my mouth. From the time I was young, I had cavities in there, fillings that were filled with mercury. And I knew things about going to a biological dentist or whatever. And I was probably a little skeptical about spending the money, about the time, the effort. It is a process of undoing all the doing. Root canals that I had done, and I guess I was a little just didn't want to deal with.
Open Pandora's box.
I let it be, and then I just said at one point, no, you know better. I actually had a holistic doctor. May he rest in peace. His name was Dr. Phillips. He was amazing. He was a dentist, and he was started to heal people as a dentist, doing all this stuff.
He passed away.
He passed away.
Well, he was persecuted tremendously.
He was, but he had mercury poisoning. And he told me, Susan, I have worked so long at getting this mercury out.
It's a lifetime.
Yeah.
And he was like, he actually gave up his dental practice and license because he knew he wasn't helping people. And he switched to being this amazing holistic doctor. Incredible man. And I know he passed away during COVID years, and I think it was from the mercury poisoning because he started shaking and he was much older. He said, "You need to get this stuff. Yeah, you need to do that." Gosh, I mean, he
Right.
really was like, "No, you have to do this." And I found you through another practitioner, and I just knew, like, when I came to your office, the energy, everybody. I love practice. I love the people that work for you. You just have a very loving. It feels like a family, and you really have become a friend to us.
That's
So,
right.
so
Because if you don't love what you do, what you doing?
Yeah.
Because it's very tedious dentistry, a lot of detail, a lot of attention. So you have to have a purpose-driven life. You
felt
really love the people you're
safe
working with.
with you, honestly. I really felt safe with you. I love that you pray over your patients. I think it's a beautiful thing to do. I don't know. It was just everything. I knew I was in the right place. I knew I found the right person to walk me through the process. And trust me, I'm proud. We've done a lot of work on my mouth. And then I have this one over here. I'm like, you will be doing all of this. And he was so nervous. He's so scared.
Of course.
Like a lot of people about getting dental work done. But
It's better to be ready because of the process. It could be dangerous if done improperly. So you cannot be doing this in a rush. It has to be done in a way that you are physically and mentally, emotionally ready.
yes.
If you're not, we give you sedation,
Yeah.
to
Right.
put you out for, a day.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that way you can relax and actually the nervous system shuts down, which it
Better for you, better for us.
To say, I am so glad that we met you, that I started to do all this really important work. I learned more in depthly, even though I knew, but like I sort of didn't want to pay attention to the oral biome. Everyone talks about the gut and how important the gut is. Well, everything's connected in our body. Nothing's separate from one another.
So yeah, that's
So-
a good point. When you have mercury in your mouth, your body produces candida. It's a way of your body so smart producing yeast in your stomach. So it kind of blocks the mercury from going to like the kidney. So you don't go into kidney failure. So the body is just so wonderfully made. So, the time that a person is ready to get treatment is the right time for them. We have been there doing this for 28 years. So we have patients that we met 5 years ago or 20 years ago that they come back, they're like, I should have done it. But the fear that they had was so big that it did not allow them. They were not ready. So we always encourage the sooner the better so that, things are not so bad. We enjoy you guys because Paul is super funny.
Oh, Paul is really funny.
It really is a different experience because, it's never fun to go, whether it's a dentist or a doctor's office, because
Yeah.
it's never usually good news. But knowing that you're sincere and the work is done professionally,
Mhm.
things are done that are needed to be done, not extra.
Yeah, extra. The best dentistry is no dentistry.
Right,
So I teach you how to floss.
right.
So that way we don't get any more cavities.
And I have this is
Right.
really a very funny story. So I had gone to my regular dentist's office to have a cleaning
Yeah.
the day before I came for my consultation with you. You really can't even make this up. Okay, I've had the cleaning go.
We did
Do all the scan, the photos are on a huge screen. And before anybody, I didn't tell anyone I just went to the dentist the day before. I'm looking on the screen, I'm going, what is all over my teeth? And you go, do you know what all this is all over your teeth? You have plaque everywhere. And I said, well, that's interesting. I literally just had a cleaning yesterday.
Boy, I said, we're starting in the room for
No, I can honestly say,
don't think I'm criticizing her.
no, not at all.
That
I
makes
actually
sense to
was
you,
like,
right?
you didn't I knew something was on my teeth
Right.
and I was mortified. And the cleanings now that I get compared to what I was getting for, all my, I'm like, wow, I was not getting a clean.
Right. Yeah. We're a little bit
It's amazing.
intense. But what happens is that what you saw was actual calculus, which that takes a while to form.
Right.
That didn't happen overnight. So maybe they profiled the teeth, but they never eradicated the actual calcium deposits and bacteria and type bacteria.
They were a factory. I mean, again, we went there for many years.
But you didn't know any better.
No, I was saying, so we met you, however Susan found you.
Yeah.
It was a whole different experience.
Right.
And that's something that I would say is that you have to know better somehow, some way. So it's word of mouth is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Something like this would be, something to get out because
It's a different level.
it's a completely different. You take it to another level.
Yeah. But it's fun for us because, we become partners with the patients. We take photos and then we want to empower them because I have patients that come from other countries. Once they see me, they have to learn because if I don't see them in a year or 3 months, whatever they decide, some people fly. I want them to really do the best they can. So eradication of disease before that it forms. Gum disease decay. That's why we spend a lot of time educating people with photos because a photo,
It speaks. You
speaks.
can't.
Yeah.
You can't say no.
Not
See
make
it.
this
It's
stuff up.
there
Right.
for sure. My journey, but
I love all this. Knew we were not going to need a script, but now looking back, what do you think your parents, could have done different? Because two people from different genetic, backgrounds.
Mhm.
What do you think was like the root cause of, all this damage in their brain?
I know that between they smoked when they were younger. Correct. We know that. Camels, no filters. The foods that they were eating, whether it was Jewish foods, because again, brought up that way, can't say it was the healthiest, but whatever they were eating with that it was chaos. It's business. We were in the produce business on my dad's side of the family. 4 uncles, 6 cousins. Susan and I left Florida to go back to New York for 8 years to work in the family business. It probably would have killed me. It was just that type of atmosphere that it was constant.
They were not going to have you fun.
No.
Toxic.
It was toxic amongst the family, the business, the customers, and everything else. So, my dad was unhealthy from the age of 38. He had a heart attack.
At 38?
38. At 55, he had triple bypass surgery. And then during the course of the years, he had anything and everything.
Cancer. Did he work out?
He played paddleball, and he was overweight. Had a belly.
If you had a belly and you're alive, that's hard. That's impotence. It's a lot of bad things.
He would work out, play paddleball, which is physical, twice a week. You would play golf every weekend.
Right.
So he was active to a certain point, but I think the stress more than anything else.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. He was on medication his whole.
Since 38.
I can't even tell you how many pills. I would say he has 20 lives.
Yeah.
But I believe, I don't know.
But everything around it was bad.
He was feeding the animal. With everything, whether it was the food or the drugs and everything else there. And unbelievably, he died at 89, which was unbelievable because his brothers died earlier.
But the quality of life was not good. Also, when you have heart conditions due to, if you have a belly, I've seen a little belly, I know there's a lot of trouble. Statins, what does a statin does? It eats the brain because the brain is 40% cholesterol. So you do a statin and then your cholesterol goes to 140, you have dementia right there.
Right, but your cholesterol's only 140.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy. Consistent, which mine was. Mine's always been over 200.
Yeah.
Did they want to put me on statins? Yes.
I said, no way.
No.
You're not doing
I
that.
haven't had it tested, I don't know how many years.
You just have to do garlic and you have to do niacin and things that are going to clean your gut.
Right.
With rice.
Cookie.
Also,
And my mom, on the other hand, healthy her whole life, never in the hospital, didn't take drugs, didn't take anything. And I just think it was COVID. Yes, she was vaccinated. Yes, she gets the flu shots. Yes, she was vaccinated. Triple back her weight, eat garbage, whatever she did, but never took a pill. Ever.
And at one time she passed away.
She passed away at 96.
What?
Yeah.
120, guys.
So
Absolutely.
My whole side of my dad's family, everybody's bald. I'm the only male in the family. It's full head hair.
That's
If they say it
awesome.
comes from your mother's side, yes, my uncles on my mother's side of brothers had full head of hair. So that could be true.
Yeah, that
with
is
that.
true, genetic.
But yeah, so I'm like, okay, I could what bloodline do I'm going with? My mom or my dad?
It's going to be diverse
Correct.
because genes get activated by what you eat, what you think. You know, it's not that epigenetic. You know, they get activated by what you do.
Right. It's
But
outside the
hey,
cell.
yeah,
You know, it's not what we're taught.
But
Like,
the old me and the old person was when I hit 50, I'm like, uh-oh, right? Because
Yeah.
my body makeup, if you look at me, you see my dad, except I don't have the belly. So everything we have, hands, feet, everything, I look like my dad. And I'm
Yeah.
like, in my own mind, all right, I made it to 40. I made it to 50.
Yeah.
I'm making it to 60.
Between 9 in the morning and 9:30, because people are going to jobs they hate
Right, right.
to do around people that are toxic that they don't want to be around. So, you know, choosing something you're very passionate about what you're doing, you're on purpose, you're helping people. You know, you guys are living well.
a big thing that I would say to people is if someone asks me, you know, what are you doing or this, I always say it's about, for me, about preventative medicine.
Yeah.
I don't want to get to the point where I broke down and now I'm in panic mode because something. Why not have the environment inside your body so you don't break down and so we don't have disease states? So that's just my mindset.
Yeah, and which is so wonderful. Everything should be about that quality of life. Your lifestyle, it just becomes automatic that you work out and automatic that you're trying to build muscle because as strong as your legs are and your grip is,
Yeah.
it's going to be as strong as you are as you get older. You know, a lot of things now you have children,
Voice.
2 boys, and now they have seen this transformation that you guys have evolved to. And how has that affected them, or are they tuning into it, or is it too late, or what's going on with that? The new generation, let's speak to that generations.
So even if we take it the next step, so we have 2 boys, but unfortunately, they move away, right? And then they meet somebody. So what is the women that are in their lives? What do they do?
You better know
Right?
who's right.
So unfortunately, we can't help them choose, even though Susan would love to help choose her daughter-in-laws, but it didn't work out that way.
Mom's trying to do that.
Of course. So one son understands where we are, where we're so much alike. Really, anything and everything, we're kind of in tune.
Yeah.
Future wife, they're getting married in July. She's sort of on the same page, but not food wise, spiritually, everything else, energetically, yes. Food wise, she's not 100% there.
Yeah.
She's good. She's 80%.
That's
She just like,
huge
she
number,
just like,
80%.
She's a big cooker to begin with. So
she just like
right.
her desserts and her sweets.
The sugar, we know that's not good. But,
Yeah.
you know, 20% of the time. That means 1 day a week you get cheap. You have a lot of freedom.
But she also does NET work. She does neuroemotional business. So, really good.
So where we have that.
She's in chiropractics, learning all these modalities of healing.
They're not going to vaccinate their children.
Natural child.
That's stress of, you know.
On the other side, completely different.
Really different.
Completely different.
They will vaccinate.
They will back. Our son has tried in certain ways to try and get his wife to see the other side.
He knows it, but
Correct.
Right.
That she needs a lot of prayer.
Yes. Because you know what? She's the one that's going to get ill.
Oh, sure.
So she'll come to her knees in one way or another. Either, you know, that's how you learn. You learn enough.
Well, that's another thing I must say. I believe also, as we're speaking on all this, one of the biggest takeaways for me is going through adversity, obstacles, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
If I ever thought I'd ever say, oh, in 2008, that was the best thing that ever happened to me because I couldn't even eat, sleep. I was a disaster. I was so scared. But you know what? I am so glad that happened to me. I evolved. And so we learn from all the adversities and contrasts. We need it in our life. it's our choice. Are we going to ask, okay, thank you, God, for giving me this?
Right.
What am I supposed to learn in this, and how can I evolve and grow from this? So that's also it.
That's a lot of wisdom in that. Yes. In the book of James, it says on the chapter 1, rejoice in your trials and tribulations, because it is then that you're going to know the character of God, and you are going to grow in character, closer to what God is, His love and His joy and His peace and all these different things. So it's hard to understand that until it happens to you.
And when you're in it, sometimes but sometimes you might look back a year later to 20 years later. That's when it's my whole spiritual journey, my
Yeah.
transformation and all. I mean, it was just, I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not when you're going through it.
No,
it's like
but
you're not laughing.
now I understand it.
So now we're going to wrap it up. What would you say, to our listeners? This was a great conversation. I really think that is going to benefit a lot of people at different angles, different stages. What would you leave our listeners, because we don't know where they're at? Now that you know all this knowledge, what would you want them to know? Or any question I didn't ask you that you want to speak?
I would say, hopefully this will open up eyes, all right, and ask questions. Even if somebody in authority asks them a question, and try and get them to explain and see if they can explain, all right? The internet's a great place to start, and it's great information. But when you're in real life and you're dealing with it day to day, you really have to find like-minded people.
A community.
And that's not been easy to find
Yeah.
with us, whether it's friends, whether it's doctors, whether it's attorney. I mean, you really have to search, and some people want to do the work and some people won't. I can say from our experience that it was worth the journey that we're on to get on this path, because it opened our eyes, and a lot of things don't matter anymore, right?
Why? Give me an example.
No, a lot of just day-to-day stress, in people. And I take a lot of things to heart. When I deal with my clients, I take in their energy. And I could say it's a lot of bad energy that's coming, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of bad. And Susan could attest to that. And I take it in personally. And I want to help everybody. And sometimes I have to let them go.
Yes.
Fall, right? Just like we say with our kids, you got to let them go, and they have to learn a little bit. So that's why I'm saying there's a lot of trial and tribulations on trying to find the right mix that's out there, but it's worth it. I mean, we feel great. I think we look great.
You guys look at me.
Yeah, we're going to display.
Not only that you look great, it's just your energy, and you have this aura, this just like a magnetic force,
Thank you.
that you have individually and as a couple, which is very rare. I live in Boca here for 30 years. And then you see a lot of people that are together for the wrong reasons. And it's not like a loving contribution, kind of building together. You see a lot of like, what is in for me? Society, we're living in a narcissistic society. People are missing out because we were made for a purpose. And then if you find your purpose, and it has to be, how can we help other people? It's not like, oh, it's all about me. How do I look? It's about the message. It's not about the messenger. And we are in a society that is so much about, and I have a lot of patients that are cancers, and they're on purpose. So, that I love that, because, if every person finds out, how they can help other people, we will live in a beautiful community. And that's my prayer and my aspiration, at least in my micro world, in my practice. We try to create that culture, but it's not naturally occurring.
Right.
They just want it. It's all about me. And then also choosing and knowing how to fold if you're playing poker, right?
Right.
You cannot be the professional for everybody. And it's good to be truth to ourselves. If somebody's so toxic, that then you're going to go home and it's going to affect your digestive system.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Right. Let it go.
It's okay. And it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I think my biggest thing would be, I hope more people could just know that you can really heal your body from it, and that if you just open your mind up a little bit and just kind of say, you know what, maybe I haven't heard all the correct information. Maybe there's somebody else I can ask something, a question, or, if you're like at a Dr. Cintron's office, Dr. Cintron, can you help me understand this or this or this? Or, if you're, I don't know, acupuncturist or chiropractor's office, like just inquire a little bit more. Pick up a book, read a little bit more. Like, don't believe everything that you hear because so much of it is misinformation. And it like breaks my heart. Like,
Is that how people
just
that
don't
even
know.
How could we even have fluoride on the water?
Right.
That is mummifying because it's bone
Right.
cancer.
And everybody's fighting them. Like they're
It's
fighting
like
them.
there's no issue here. Like it's a poison. Let's get it up.
My kids were
arguing about this.
And they would go in the dentist's office who give fluoride, before we got to Dr. Citron. And I said, tell them no fluoride, no fluoride. I knew. I said, no fluoride.
Yeah.
They would tell, no, my mom said no fluoride. Why? And I said, tell them because your mom said so, but just
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
there's just so much misinformation. And it makes me sad that more people don't know.
In
And
our court, they don't.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But I believe there's always an answer. That's my attitude. You tell me no, I'm going to say, oh, really? I'm going to show you how. Like, don't tell me no. I know there's an answer to whatever the issue is. So I just hope more people could open their minds up to be
I
open-minded
think
to
that's too.
just learning more and questioning a little bit.
Close with that thought in prayer. I'm going to close with that because I think we're in agreement of that. So I'm going to read the prayer. Thank you so much, you guys. It's a lot of information. So Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of life, the gift of our minds, and the wisdom you give us to care for our bodies and heart. Help us to guard our hearts with diligence, to seek peace over chaos, truth over fear, wisdom over neglect. Give us discernment to release what harms us, being emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and the courage to choose habits that bring life and clarity. May you strengthen our minds, calm our hearts, and guide our steps so that we may live fully, love deeply, and age with grace. And we place our future, our health, and our families in your hands. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much.